Now, if you are not excited about making your own pie crust, Randy has a solution that'll make you look like a rock star. It's a ham and cheese quiche using phyllo sheets. Here's what you're gonna need to follow along. You need some leeks, ham, eggs, heavy cream, goat cheese, Swiss grated cheddar, phyllo sheets, salt and pepper, chives, and butter. Okay, Randy, I want to look like a rock star. Where do we begin with this ham and leek quiche?
You know, whenever we're dealing with quiche, we got to deal with the center first, because it is the most important part. The crust, yes, it's got some level to it, but if the middle is terrible, then it doesn't matter what you do with the crust. So you always want a quiche that's light and fluffy. So what I do is I start with 4 eggs, and you need to practice this at home, Trace. You need to do the double, because that just looks cool, right? So once you have that down, you have the confidence.
I love it.
To make the inside smooth, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. You get that going on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some heavy cream to those eggs. And I mean, we're already off to a good start, because we've got the fluffy eggs, and then we've got the cream, the 35%, which is full of flavor. Now, it's very important to beat it up. Like, I mean, whisk it up. Even if you want to put an immersion blender in there and hammer it, that's okay too, because it's really important to make it smooth, because you want to incorporate all that cream with the eggs. So now we're there. We're kind of like, you can see it looks kind of fluffy and creamy and kind of quiche-y. Now what we're going to do is we've got some leeks that are just cooked off in a little bit of butter and a touch of thyme, because I like thyme. But I'm a big fan of leeks, so we're just going to put probably too many in. But that's okay, because it's going to give it some girth. And then the reason we went ham is bacon might be a little bit too forceful on this dish. And ham is perfect because you can pick it up at the grocery store. It's already cooked. You basically have to slice it up, and it does give it a nice little smoked flavor to it as well. What is your favorite combination for flavors on a quiche, Trace?
I like spinach. I like ham. I like goat cheese, like all the cheeses, really. But yeah, I'm a big fan of quiche.
And I think the beauty of it is you can have it like warm right out of the oven. You can have it like the next day cold. You can basically put it in your pocket and run out the door, and you still feel fancy eating it on the way to work, right?
Totally.
We got a little bit of shredded cheddar. Now listen, it doesn't really matter these cheeses. You can kind of go with whatever your favorites are. But the one I insist you gotta have to make it smooth and creamy is definitely the goat cheese. And just kind of like chunk that in. And once again, we're gonna make that nice and smooth. And this might freak you out a little bit, but what you need to do is just check the seasoning. We're gonna need a little bit of salt in there and a touch of pepper. So now we're basically there. We're almost ready to go. We need our tart shell. So what I've got here is a tart shell. It's got the removable bottom on it and then the little sides. And I've just taken the phyllo pastry, cut it to the desired square, like that. And then we take some butter, give it a drip, give it the paint. And the cool stuff is, about the phyllo, is it doesn't need to be perfect. It can kind of be a bit of a wreck and a bit of a mess, kind of like my hair some days. And you just kind of place it in there. And if it's sticking out of the top, well, that's just going to be cool. And we're going to say, well, that's what it's supposed to look like. And as it bakes, it's going to be on like kind of different textures of doneness on the crust. And you can just kind of force it in there to do whatever you need to do.
How many layers?
So now I've got 6 layers in there. Which,
okay. So you just answered the question.
I've got 6, but you can go 4 is probably like the bare minimum if you're running low or you're making a lot of them. And you can go as much as 8. It depends on how big of a tart or a shell you're using. So then this just goes in just like that. And you can see that we are like copious amounts. Like it's basically full up to the brim. Smooth it out. And then we take some extra goat cheese, because this is like gonna look really cool later, and then that's just a little bit more flavor kind of combination off the top, and then it's just gonna melt in there like that. And what you get is, bam!
Beautiful.
You see those edges? It's like, wow, that's kind of stunning. And then it just pops up like this. See that?
That is such a good pan to have. It's like the
Perfectly
spring
set.
form for the pie.
Right, and it gives it the little fluted edges. It's non-stick, so everything should work here. Watch, I said it's non-stick, but it's going to stick on me, but I hope not. So here we go. We give it the old cut ski right down like that, and then turn it. And it's a perfect little size for 4 people, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to go a little bit bigger, you could, but then we're just going to pick this up.
Nice.
Look at that, Trace. So you get a little crispy crust on the outside, you get the little tender moistness on the inside, and then you just take a little bit of spring onions or chives, and you garnish, and you go, here you go, the perfect lunch.
So good. Cityline.tv for the recipe. Thank you, Rand.